Hey there, my beautiful friend. I hope you're having the most magical day. Alex and I are celebrating 7 years together. 7 years ago, we decided to join forces and enter a relationship. And I thought it would be fun to record a couples Q&A talking about our relationship, advice that we have, things that we've learned about marriage and partnership, and some more personal things that I asked you guys over on Instagram. Alex and I were just road tripping through the south of Corsica, and it was so nice to spend some quality time grounding with the earth, with nature, and connecting with one another on this trip. So without further ado, let's get into the questions.
Do you guys ever fight? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say we don't really fight as more as we argue. Like we have squabbles often. Every day we are bickering about something. And I think that's just because we're really different. We're very different people, very different opposite personalities, but we're very complementary.
Yeah.
And so because we are very different people, arguments happen more than if we were very similar.
Yeah, we sometimes act a bit like we're an old couple, constantly bickering and not fighting, but like arguing about little things, but we always make up. And, you know, we're always okay in the long run. We always know that we love each other in the long run. And the day-to-day stuff, we always let it go, I think.
Yeah, yeah. We get annoyed with each other. But that doesn't breed resentment.
Yeah.
Actually, really interesting. Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew Broderick, they're one of my favorite celebrity couples. They've been together 30 years. They're so grounded and so down to earth, and they just seem to have a really awesome marriage. And I remember one time in a talk show, Sarah Jessica Parker said that one of the secrets to her marriage, to making it work, is allowing yourself to resent your partner for 20 minutes a day and then moving on.
Yeah.
I think resent is a strong word. I don't ever resent Alex, but more, it's okay to get annoyed and to bicker with your partner for 20 minutes a day and just roll your eyes and be annoyed with them. Yeah. But then it's really important to move on.
And it's okay to be angry at your partner too, you know? I mean, like sometimes mistakes will happen. Sometimes one of us drops the ball for the other. And it's fair to be angry at the partner, you know? And you have to take some time to be apart, to process those feelings of anger or frustration. But at the end of the day, whether it's an hour or 24 hours, you get over it, you move on because you're a team, because you work together. And so don't feel like you don't have to, like you're not supposed to feel angry, you know? Or you're not supposed to resent a little bit, or I think that's what Matthew Broderick and Sarah Jessica Parker was saying.
It's okay.
You don't have to feel guilty about those feelings.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. If you're out there and you're dating someone and you're like, why isn't this perfect? Why isn't this super? Why are we always arguing? That's okay. I think that's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Especially if you're very different people. That's natural. Open communication is key. It really, really is.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
5'9".
He's 5'9". I'm 5'4". What do you love about each other? I'll start first. I love how patient Alex is. He's so understanding. He's so gentle and calm under pressure. He's very stoic, and you're my greatest inspiration for remaining calm and unbothered, because I'm very emotional, I'm very expressive, I'm very dramatic, I've got that Leo energy, that fire in me, and so to have someone who is more grounded and calm and just patient, you're so patient. He's just my role model.
And for me, I mean, I think we both love that we're very young at heart. You know, we're like Peter Pan, you know, we're just very young always.
Yeah.
No matter how old we're going to be, we'll still be young at heart. So that's what I love about her. And she's just always asking me questions. She's constantly testing me and making me think about things. And I'm like, oh, what kind of a question is that? Oh, that's an interesting question. I never thought about that. And it's, again, because we're so different, she's so interesting, you know? Isn't she interesting? She's very interesting. So for me, my favorite things about her is that she's interesting, she's young at heart, and she has a lot of energy. She's almost, I mean, she has her introvert moments for sure, but like in general, she just has a zest for life, and she loves doing things with a lot of energy for it.
Thank you.
Of course.
I love how playful he is as well. He's like a silly goober. Like on the outside, he looks very formal and very put together. But like the Alex I know is so silly and so childlike and so giddy and just, you're so fun and you're so happy and you're so humorous and lighthearted. And I think because we're both so lighthearted, that humor, we're both so open to laugh. I think that goes into another question. We'll go into that. But just that lightheartedness that you have, it just, it really, it matches, we match really well with that.
Thanks. Yeah.
How do y'all feel about divorce?
Divorce is okay, you know? It's nothing to be ashamed of, but it's very difficult. It should be like a last resort, you know?
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's sinful or anything. Hopefully you work through other things first, you know, you can try therapy or talking with friends or like realigning and stuff. But if your partner really changes on a fundamental level where your values don't match up anymore, it's fair.
It's fair.
It's fair.
Yeah. You know, there are certain things that I think are big deal breakers in a relationship. It's like the topic of kids. Do you want children? The topic, you know, money, how you each handle your finances and your long-term vision and your goals for your future as a couple.
Yeah.
And if someone changes on a really important level like that, there's nothing wrong with divorce. You know, if one person realizes they want kids later on and the other person is like, no, we've never wanted kids, I don't want children, that's a big deal breaker, right?
Absolutely.
And so on that fundamental level, I think divorce is absolutely okay. Prenups are awesome. That's kind of a random side note. We didn't get a prenup, but that's just, I don't know what, we have no assets. There's nothing to fight over. But the people you surround yourself with, they affect you. You know, the most important thing that you can do to become the person you want to be is to surround yourself with people that you want to emulate, that inspire you, that uplift you, that expand you. And so if you're married to someone that makes you miserable, like, what's the point? Life is so big and there's so much to do and so much things to pursue, hobbies, interests, travel, friends. Like, why would you limit yourself to someone that you're miserable with? People change. People grow, like, and with time, I also believe in soul contracts, you know? On a soul level, we come into this life knowing that we need to meet certain people at certain times and we have lessons to learn from them. And once you learn those lessons from them, once you've solidified them and those lessons are ingrained within you, that soul contract is complete and you're able to move on from that soul contract because it's over. And you have the choice when the soul contract is complete to either stay with them and to have fun and just to live alongside them in life, or you have the choice to move on and get another lesson from another person on another soul contract level. So that's coming from a more spiritual lens, a more soul lens. But in terms of divorce for me, I have no intention of ever divorcing you. I freaking love you to bits. I'm never letting you go.
I feel the same.
You can't get away from me. I should take that out.
Take
that out. I don't want you guys knowing. I don't want you guys knowing our secret pet names for each other. They're kind of silly. How did you know it was the right time to get married?
When we saw the visa requirements and said, darn, we have to go together if we're married, so let's get married.
We got married because of France. We were living together and that was a big deal for us.
We wanted to continue living together and you wanted to go abroad and my job allowed to go abroad, and so I pursued something, and then we said, you know, how do we stay together?
Gotta
we
get
want
married.
to stay together, so we'll get married.
What does marriage mean to you?
Well, marriage means a partnership to me. It means like going together with your partner through thick and thin, you know, from the easy and the hard stuff, and you support each other. And it's also, marriage is about wanting to share your life with somebody, you know, the joys of having someone there next to you while you're experiencing, hopefully, good days. And also having someone support you in the bad days. You know?
And for me, marriage is two people walking hand in hand together, but two independent people.
Yeah.
Like if you split Alex and me up, if you split us, you would see two very independent people.
Yeah.
Two people who have their own interests, their own friends, their own life, and their own like self-confidence. Like we're both very self-assured in who we are.
Yeah.
We both have our own, passions in life, and we're very self-confident, I think, internally on our own.
Yeah.
But we come together, we're even more powerful than when we're alone. When we join forces, our love, our light is stronger than if we're alone. And it's like the Matrix Resurrections, Trinity and
Neo.
Neo. Yeah, like they're both.
I love this right now, this reference.
I know, he loves the Matrix. It's like a huge part of who he is. But like, they're so strong alone, but when they come together, it's like this incredible force of light, and I think that's for us for me, it's what marriage is two independent people joining forces for something bigger.
That are stronger together than apart.
Yeah. Do you have any spiritual rituals that you do together?
Well, I wasn't a very spiritual person before I met you. And then
You love the Dalai Lama, though. You introduced me to the Dalai Lama.
Yeah, but for me that was more of a philosophy and lifestyle rather than spiritual. But you showed me how to connect to my intuition, which was really interesting, and how to go into to my inner voice, to connect to my inner voice.
Yeah, we do inner voice sessions where basically we connect with each other's intuitions. We do breath work, and then if we ever have questions on things that are going on in our lives, we direct the question down from our head down to our gut, because that's where we both feel our intuition. Some people feel it in the chest, some people feel it in the stomach, but we feel our answers down in the gut, and so we ask each other questions, and we close our eyes and we breathe together. And it's amazing. He's so tapped into his intuition. It's amazing. He's got a really strong connection
Sometimes
with your inner voice. He's also quite interested in tarot, so we'll do tarot readings together sometimes.
Yeah.
I've
I like
tried
the pictures.
Yeah, you like the
And
pictures.
the symbolism, yeah.
So yeah, we do inner voice work, intuition work. What is your favorite tradition with Alex that you've come up with together?
So for Christmas time we choose 3 books that the other person likes, and then we choose one for them.
Yeah, we'll go to a bookstore like a few nights before Christmas, and we'll each pick 3 books, and then surprise the other one with a book, and then we'll open it on Christmas Eve, we'll read together on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we really like reading together. It's like a simple way to. I mean, nowadays everything is connected. I mean, your notes are on the phone. We're using a camera right now. Like everyone's looking at their screens. I look at my screens every day. So having that time to just take an actual book. I mean, even for me, a Kindle, but I don't count a Kindle as like a screen. And we can just sit together and read our own books on very different topics. Probably.
Very different topics, yeah.
But we enjoy our presence.
We'll sit on the couch together every night for an hour. It's a new tradition we're coming up with now, actually. But we'll read together. We also love to read aloud together. I have love letters from great men. But he loves poetry. I love Shakespeare. We read love letters from great men, the different love letters. We'll read those aloud to each other. So that like reading aloud poetry and beautiful words to each other is a big tradition we've always kind of come up with.
Yeah.
Also for Christmas, we love old black and white movies in general. But every Christmas we watch In the Good Old Summertime with Judy Garland and White Christmas. Alex loves Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
Loves Bing Crosby. You love the crooning.
She's so classic. How can you not like Bing Crosby?
I know. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to watch White Christmas right now.
His voice is butter.
Butter. I know. So we listen to a lot of Bing Crosby. Oh, another tradition we have is we don't get Christmas ornaments anymore. So when we were living in the States, we used to go travel and we would get ornaments from every place we've traveled. And so we would our Christmas tree would basically be ornaments from different parts of the world that we've been to together.
Yeah.
But because we move around every year or so because of Alex's job, we now do photos. So we'll print photos from our trips from the previous year, and then we'll put them on the Christmas tree to look at them.
Yeah, so that's a good way to, relive the memories, and relive the travels and
From the year.
And it's not that expensive, and you just buy a bunch of them. You can go print them out, and it was really fun for me to unwrap and see what memory could be anything, But then it adds up.
Yeah, we kind of do an advent calendar type of situation where we wrap our photos from the year, and then every year counting down to Christmas, we open up a photo. We open up the wrapping paper to see the photo from the year. And so then we put it on the tree, and then by the end of the month, we've got this beautiful collection of travel memories on the tree.
Where are you from?
Where are you from? Where are you from, Alex?
It's complicated. That's a typical TCK answer for you. Third culture kid, for those who don't know what TCK is. But no, I was born in DC, Washington, DC in the US. I moved to France for lower school and middle school, and then to Austria for high school. And so I came back to the US for my university years. So I'm technically American, but where am I from? I grew up in Europe in these two different countries. I'm from the USA. That's, I guess, what I can say. You're easier.
Yeah, I'm from California. I'm from Southern California. Grew up in Imperial Beach, down at the south border of California, and then teenage years in Oceanside. So I'm a Southern California girl. Who was the first to know that you were made for each other? Me.
Who is more decisive and faster to act? You.
Yeah. I know things immediately. I don't have to deliberate or think about things or ponder on things for long.
Because you're in touch with your intuition. You're in touch with your gut. You always know things.
Yeah.
And then you say things that I'm like, wait, but how do you know? Let me analyze it. And then you're like, oh, I decided this yesterday.
Yeah. I knew I was in love with him when we were backpacking through Europe together. I think it was 8 months into our relationship. We met in January 2015, started dating. I went backpacking through Europe solo actually for a month and a half that summer. We did long distance. He met up with me actually in Switzerland, and then we did 3 weeks of backpacking Europe together.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with him on a dorm room floor in Nice. He was eating greasy Chinese food. I looked at him, I looked at how happy he was. He was listening to music and like, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
You're eating Chinese food, and I just looked at him and I was like, I'm in love with him. I'm smitten.
Yeah.
I'm smitten. And so I told him like, we were cuddling and I told him, and he didn't say it back.
It was basically, let me get back to you.
Let me get back to you. Let me deliberate this. He's a Virgo.
Let me consult with the council and what.
I'm lucky that Alex felt the same way, and we moved in together, and it's been awesome ever since.
Yeah.
It's been amazing ever since. It's like living with your best friend. It's like having a slumber party every day with your best friend. There's nothing better than living with your lover and your best friend. It's just nothing better.
Yeah.
How do you keep your relationship so loving? 5 love languages, I would think. We both know
the right love language.
We both know our love languages really well. We're both quality time, so that's great. But he also is acts of service.
Yeah.
He naturally is always doing things for me, and I'm not an acts of service person.
Yeah, you're more words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And once I learned that, and you reminded me enough, because that doesn't come naturally to me, I feel like I do pretty good, right? At giving you words of affirmation.
Oh yeah. Oh, you've gotten better with time for sure.
I should have.
I frequently tell him like I need words. I need to be, like if I'm doing something helpful, like please just say Helena, that's really helpful. You know, like
or
just
you're doing
a simple.
Something that's very good. You know, like very talented or like very high quality.
Or even just like simple things.
Yeah. But now, like, I'll think it.
Yeah.
Before I thought it, but I wouldn't say anything. And now I think it, and I make sure, like, oh, if I think it, I should say it.
Yeah.
And I do.
Yeah.
So
and so naturally, I am that way. I'm constantly, always giving him words of affirmation, like, "Oh man, you look so hot today. This jacket looks great on you," or you know, "Thank you. I adore your mind."
Yeah.
You know, I'm always feeding him words and beautiful words because that's how I express love to people.
Yeah. And I'll be constantly doing acts of service for her. And I will say that if I did acts of service and she said nothing, then I would feel like a bit unloved or not appreciated.
But because But
she knows that's my love language, and so she always responds so sweetly. And she always says something like, you know, I love you so much for doing this. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. So it's like when you know each other's love languages, and also I think it should kind of come naturally, being loving to each other. Our marriage isn't hard. we like each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's really that simple.
And it isn't to say that our marriage is effortless.
No,
Marriage
no.
requires a lot of work.
Yeah.
And, we can have squabbles or disagreements or arguments because we're different. But then you put in the work, and then it makes it better. If you put in the work. And that's how it works, because it's good because we put in the effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think that us being loving towards each other, that does come easily.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not a
That
struggle
part's natural.
to...
Yeah.
Like again, there's no resentment. It's very natural. And I think it's just because we like each other. We like the other person, even if it wasn't romantic involved. Like, we're best friends. Like, I like who he is, you know?
Absolutely.
I like your personality. Do you have a favorite memory in France, living in France?
Well, one of my favorite memories was when we were dancing together to Edith Piaf in front of the Eiffel Tower on the Champs de Mars.
Yeah.
And it was the night before you were going to California for a month, so it was about, it was
Long
It was
distance.
sort of like goodbye, even though it was just a month. But it was spontaneous and it was natural, and we listened to that romantic music.
I put it on my phone. I played, La Vie en Rose on my phone, and I started playing
We had
it.
it in the little pocket, so when we were dancing, we could just hear just the two of us.
Yeah.
And that was really nice.
We were slow dancing, looking at
And
the
I
Eiffel
was just
Tower.
thinking, like, how lucky are we that we get to live in France and we get to do this? I mean, like, tourists could do that too, but it's a special meaning for us, France, us coming here together and starting a life.
Actually, we were in the south of France in Côte d'Azur doing a little road trip, and we went to this amazing restaurant and had the most amazing dinner of our lives.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
And we left, and there was a huge rainstorm. There was like hail, like huge, like pebbles of ice were just hitting our car, and we were in our car, and it was so scary. And we were actually going to camp that night. We brought tents, and we were going to wild camp outside. And we both realized, like, we can't do it tonight. And so
Didn't happen.
I was like, Alex, should we like call like a bed and breakfast or an inn or something? And so he called, and we found the cutest little bed and breakfast. It was so darling. It was only like 4 or 5 rooms, really like boutique in style, very cute, very French, and very affordable. And we ended up booking a room that night during this storm.
Yeah.
And it was the most magical day. Like, we had breakfast in bed. Someone else brought hot chocolate to the room.
Yeah,
I love
on a little silver platter.
It's one of my favorite things in the world is having a silver platter with a teacup on a saucer and like a white porcelain teapot, or even a teapot, and there's hot cocoa in there, and just pouring it into the teacup. Oh my God, I want to do that right now.
And they had such a nice lobby, and then we went downstairs and we ate breakfast outside.
We had breakfast in the garden, and it was like beautiful summer,
And then there was
butterflies.
this market that just popped up
Oh yeah, little farmer's market.
that next morning.
Do you see yourselves remaining in France or eventually venturing elsewhere? What do you think?
For now, I can see us staying in France, but we have to make sure that we can create a community here. If we were to stay in France, we have to like settle down in one city and make friends and have community.
Yeah.
And then that's possible. But if not, I mean, it depends upon the job and on our future and what we want to do. I mean, like, you want to go back to college, and like we could move to Portugal or Germany or Austria. I wouldn't mind living in Austria for a
Oh,
bit.
I would love to live in Austria.
Austria is
a huge goal.
But
for me.
oddly, like, I lived in Vienna for 6 years. I don't want to live.
We
there
don't have to
anymore.
live in Vienna. We could live in Salzburg or anyway. It's a long.
We're getting
no.
off on a tangent.
I do not see myself living in France long term. I can see us moving to Paris for a while, but I would love to move to Lisbon or Porto in Portugal. I'm also very open to Amsterdam, maybe, and definitely Austria for sure. Say I resonate more with Italians or with the Portuguese than I do the French.
Yeah.
The French are very reserved, they're very polite, they're very calm.
Well, like
I'm very warm and out there, and
I'm like a Frenchman who married an Italian.
yes, yes, definitely. And I miss that warmth. I
Yeah.
miss the warmth of Americans, Italians, Portuguese, Spanish. Like, I miss that warmth, and that's something that I'm missing here in France. And honestly, like, I feel like so many people romanticize France, and it's for a good reason. Like, France is beautiful. The architecture's so beautiful, and the language is beautiful, the food, the culture, like, it's beautiful. And that's why I'm so inspired to make films sharing the beauty of France, is because it's it's easy to romanticize, but there are things about it that's hard. Like as an expat, someone who moves every year to follow a job, there's a lot of isolation and loneliness with that. And there's a lot of things that you can't quite put your finger on, but it's not really home.
Yeah.
And so it's a big reason I don't want to live in France forever. So all in all, no. Definitely do not see myself living in France long term. We're here because of his job. There's no long-term plan. We're in a weird state of limbo right now.
We have short-term plans. We don't have long-term plans. And the long-term plans can be determined once we have a more stable short-term future.
Yeah, we have no short-term stable future, guys.
Adventurous way to live.
It's adventurous. It's exciting. We're living on the edge, I feel like sometimes.
Like some people would say, wait a minute, I can only live in this housing for 9 months. Where am I going to live for the other 3? No, I can't do it. And we just look at them and we're like, travel.
Yeah.
That means we can get to travel without rent?
And I mean, obviously someday, like, I dream of having a little cottage by the sea with like 5 cats and a Pomeranian. Like, that's the dream.
Yeah, we can't do this lifestyle forever.
No.
Of course not. It'd be too exhausting. But
but for now, I'm in my 20s, and
some people never have that opportunity. So we're taking it by the reins, We're making the most of it.
It's anything but boring. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
It's anything but boring. Of all the places you and Alex have traveled, what was the most romantic place you visited? And what fun thing did you do there? For me, it's Iceland, because we wild camped through Iceland way before we moved to France. When we were living in the US. We had no money. I was making minimum wage, working 7 jobs at like random like shops, like making, very little money, minimum wage. Had no money. We went to Iceland and we brought all our camping gear and our tents, and we brought a huge suitcase filled with canned goods, like canned beans and canned chili from Trader Joe's, and we just shipped all this food with us to Iceland, and we just lived in our car. Like, we lived in the car, we did wild camping, we slept in farms, we slept on the side of the road, we slept in parking lots, and it was such a rough trip.
Very rough.
But I fell in love with you. Like, I fell so in love with him on that trip, because I was like, I just realized there is no one on earth that I could do this with.
Yeah.
There is no one on earth. You are so calm and so patient and so steady and so fun. Like, I remember one time we pulled off in a little town, and there was this huge playground.
Oh, yeah.
And these swings and this slide and this like jumping trampoline, and we pulled over and we got out. We were just having the funnest time jumping and falling, and we went on the swings, and it was just we're kids at heart. It was such a romantic experience for me.
It was very romantic. I thought of another romantic experience that we had, but it was a lot shorter one. This beautiful restaurant I wanted to show Helena where Monet got his inspiration for his paintings. So we went to this place in order to see the Monet's gardens, and we went to this amazing hotel called Le Jardin d'Épicure. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And it had a restaurant in the hotel that was surrounding a swimming pool, which now they've renovated and they don't have it there anymore. And they decided to put us up in this beautiful suite that had a massive hot tub and a massive, like, it was like a expensive suite because no one was in it, and they were like, we'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
And like, there were peacocks in the garden, I think.
Oh my god, it was so romantic.
And
guys,
this,
if you're ever in France,
romantic garden, it was it was a short experience, but like they had a little river there. It was like the most romantic.
I was gonna say, guys, if you're ever in France, go to Le Jardin d'Épicure. It's like outside of Paris near Monet's gardens. Also, I really recommend the Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. It's a film called Paris Can Wait.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And it's all about this American woman who goes to France, and she meets this Frenchman who drives her through France, and they eat at all these like local restaurants, and he teaches her about the French way and French cuisine and the history, and it is such a cool independent film. Yeah. Really recommend it for all you French lovers. You'll love the film Paris Can Wait.
You gotta watch Paris Can Wait. It is from the American perspective of getting to know French culture and like a love of this I mean, French gastronomy in particular, just
so good. That's how that film was how we discovered Danielle and Denise, which is one of the best restaurants in Lyon. So good. They filmed there at Danielle and Denise, and then I actually interviewed the chef there in one of my past videos. I'll include that here. But then also Le Jardin Epicure. They went to Le Jardin Epicure and stayed there and had dinner there, and that's why we went there, because we loved the movie so much. So that's some of our favorite memories living abroad, some of the most romantic things that we did. Thank you so much for your question. All your questions, guys. And then the last question is, the both of you look so at peace, so in love with love. What would your advice be for a long, healthy relationship? What would you say, honey?
Communicate well, communicate clearly. Don't ever assume that the other person knows what you're thinking, and move on from when you're angry at things, you know.
You took what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Keep going.
No, but yeah, that's it. It's really like you gotta move on. You can't hold on to things, and you can't assume. I mean, so many couples, like I feel like this is more common with women rather than men as a generality. Like obviously not always, but like I've seen many times that a partner will feel like it's obvious why they're upset, but then not say why, and so the other partner has to like guess, and they're not a mind reader, and if you're very different people, you know, the other person might not be upset because of it, so it's hard for them to guess, and so it's better just to communicate it clearly early on, so there's no resentment that like grows or festers, and then see what you can do about it, see if you can change your habits, your behavior, and move on.
Well, I think that we work so well because he's very calm and patient and understanding. I am not calm, patient, and understanding. However, I am a very good communicator.
Yeah.
Not only am I very direct and I do not play games, and I am a straight shooter with everyone in my life, not just my romantic partner, but like my friends. I'm a straight shooter. I do not play games. And so that honesty, that transparency, and just having open communication, I think is what helps. Like, I'm not patient, but I communicate very well, and I say what's on my mind, and I do not play passive aggression tactics, and like I tell you what's wrong. If something's wrong, I tell you.
Can you imagine if you took like a whole day of giving me the silent treatment?
Oh my God, I can't.
And then if I asked what's wrong, you say something like,
"There's no time for that."
What do you think? You know, people do that. You know,
I can't play those games. Like, I don't associate.
Even imagining it for her, she's like, no.
I don't even hang out with people like that. Like, I can't. Life is so short. I don't have time for that. Like,
well, that's why it works.
Life is supposed to be fun, and like playing games, it does not make sense to me. Just say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Just speak. Use your words. It's like you tell kids, use your words, and it's like, use your words.
And don't make it too complicated.
Don't make it complicated. But yes, I will say another thing that helps us is when I do get upset, I move on very quickly.
Yeah.
Do not hold, I move on. Like, we get in an argument, we say everything that we need to say, we move on. We do not hold things in. We do not continue to resent on the previous argument, the previous disagreement. We move on. We let it go. We surrender the freaking topic and we move on. That is so helpful. Like, that is a huge reason why I believe we will last forever.
Yeah.
It's just, we move on.
Yeah, and I will say, like, obviously you can't complain or communicate every single time that your partner does something that annoys you.
No, you gotta pick your battles. Pick your battles.
You have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
There's also, like, you might not want to say anything if it's a small thing, but you don't want it to build up. So, like, sometimes if you do little things that annoy me and they're enough and of the same kind, I'll wait and then bring it up to you. You did this, and this, and I've noticed this trend, and it bothers me. And usually you're listening, and you try to change that. And you're glad that I told you because you would have had no idea otherwise.
Yeah. Another thing, there's something else I wanted to say that's really important. Oh yeah, some other little relationship tips that we've learned through trial and error are don't hit below the belt.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like, when you're arguing, do not pull up that insecurity of your partner. Do not pull that that thing that's just not nice and it's unkind and it's cruel, and you know that that person has an issue around it and you're just like poking at their deepest wound, let that go. Do not bring it up. Do not hit below the belt. That's a huge thing that we've learned. And then another thing that we've learned is don't tell your other person, you know, you're lazy. Tell them you're being lazy.
It's harder to change a person, and you're not attacking the person. You're just saying this behavior is what's bad.
Yeah.
That helps because.
And this is making me feel this way.
Yeah.
You're acting lazy, and it's making me feel blank. You know?
Oh yes, that
Yeah,
much,
that's a big thing we've learned, and it's really, really helpful when we get in arguments.
Yeah.
Is we don't say you're lazy or whatever. Like.
Yeah, you say stop being so lazy right now in this moment.
Yeah.
Because it's making me feel like I have to do more work or whatever.
And then the last thing I just want to say, I think what keeps a really great relationship is humor.
Yeah.
Having the same humor as the other person, I think, is critical for a relationship. Like being able to laugh at the same things. You know, there's so many different types of humor. You know, there's wit, there's sarcasm, there's physical humor, there's
silliness.
Jokes. Yeah, there's so many different types of things that make people laugh. And I think it's really important that you find a partner that like you have the same humor on the same things. Like you can laugh at the same things together.
Yeah, having a good sense of humor where you're both laughing all the time, that really helps us.
Oh my God, I really think that helps us because Alex loves to tease. He loves to make fun. He loves to be lighthearted. I also am very lighthearted, and I also love to tease. So if he's making fun of me about something that I'm doing, I laugh it off.
Yeah, you're not serious about it.
I don't take it personally. I don't take it seriously because I am not serious about myself.
Yeah. You don't take yourself too seriously.
I don't take myself seriously. So when you're making fun of me, I laugh it off. It's hilarious because I am ridiculous. I am absurd. And I recognize that. I have the self-awareness to recognize that. And so when you're making fun of me, I'm laughing with you because it's funny and it's true.
It's true. Yeah.
And it's the same with him. Like I'm always teasing him and like doing one-liners, little quips, and he laughs and he thinks it's funny. And I think that ability to remain lighthearted and open-minded and like being generous to laughter is so important. But those are your questions. Thank you so much for asking them. Yeah. It was really fun. I think it was really fun for us to like sit down and talk about these things.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
We're doing it a second time, but that's okay.
Still feels a bit different in some ways.
Yeah, it does feel different. Yeah. And yeah, I hope this was helpful for you. You know, we're obviously not experts on marriage at all, and obviously we're very young. Yeah. You know, we've only been together 7 years, but I think we have learned some things and some things that could be helpful to other people. And we have a very good marriage, a very strong marriage. And I think, you know, these are things that we've learned from our experiences, and there's no harm in sharing that openly with other people. So yeah, I'll include some blog posts down below in the description box. I've written many blog posts in the past 5-6 years about living together, what I've learned, what I've learned living with you, you know, experiences in falling in love while traveling. I'll include all those stories and those little blog posts that I've written over the years down below if you'd like to see it. If you'd like to ever ask any future questions for upcoming Q&As, feel free to follow me on Instagram. I'll be asking questions there. But other than that, I hope you liked this video. It was really fun to make. Yeah. More casual.
Very casual. I like it.
Yeah, it was fun. All right. Well, have a good day, guys, and I will see you next time here on the channel. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.